Guys, Bitcoin just kissed $91,000 today, rebounding hard. Is the worst finally behind us? We'll take a look. And also buckle up because Friday, the White House Crypto Summit could drop a bombshell, a Bitcoin US reserve. This could be the rocket fuel that we need to take off. All right, so let's take a look right now. Right in this morning, as I mentioned, Bitcoin 91,000, and it pulled back some. It's at 89,200. Yesterday, Trump gave a speech, a fiery speech that has the crypto world buzzing, but it didn't really talk about crypto, so we're not going to talk too much about that. But something that came up today is the buzz about a reserve. Okay, the Bitcoin reserve. Let me get to that right now. The excitement stems from posts on X and emerging reports tying U.S. Commerce Secretary Robert Lutnick to confirmation of a strategic Bitcoin reserve announcement. X users have been actively discussing claims that Lutnick, a prominent figure in Trump's administration and CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald, has affirmed that the U.S. will unveil details of a crypto reserve, including Bitcoin, at the upcoming summit. All right, so that is pretty interesting. Let's see what happens. We are only a couple of days away, but as you can see from the chart, the market is reacting pretty well. On Sunday we went up real high, right, due to some news from out of the Trump camp, and then that reverted back, closing some gaps here. Okay, so just catching you guys up right here. Didn't really close this one completely, right? On Friday the 28th, when we had this drop to 78,000. This gap closes completely at 78,000. So I mean that's right there. Although if the higher this thing goes, right, and the longer it goes, then the less probable that this gap will be closed completely. Maybe this partial close is enough. Let's see what happens though. Friday could be a very bullish day if they do announce that a reserve is going forward and they're going to push for a reserve and they're going to give some more details. I think that the market, that's the jet fuel that the market needs to kind of move out of this area. Okay, and then we probably don't close this. All right, so it depends on what's happening there. Okay, so that's Bitcoin pretty much in a nutshell. I thought, you know, once we kind of looked at this and set this up here, that we could kind of consolidate, right, between 93,000 and 80,000 for a little bit for today, tomorrow, Friday, right? And then Friday maybe we do blast out of here. It depends on what happens in that crypto summit, or next week we kind of blast out of this area back up here. All right, let's show this chart right here. All right, kind of hang out right here for a little while, for a couple of days more, and then get back into this triangle, and eventually before a May, move up out of this whole area, move up out of this triangle and into the next leg up, guys. Because I mentioned that from this leg right here, right, to this leg right here, this move up, it didn't really cover it just moved up and it didn't really put a lot of candles right here. And so maybe that's one of the things that it's doing right now, is just filling a void. Okay, so that really hasn't changed. Let's take a look at a couple of things. Let's take a look at liquidity heat map. I don't think that's given us too much information today. There is a lot of liquidity to be had to the downside, right? Below 88,000, right? As low as 83,000. So that's interesting. And above, there's less, right? But there is some. 91,000 is notable. 91,600 is notable. 92,000 somewhat notable. Yeah. So right around there. So let's see what happens there. There's not much information that's giving us today. Bitcoin ETFs, another red day yesterday, right? 2 days in a row. On the 3rd and the 4th, right? Today's the 5th, so 2 days in a row of red. Yesterday was negative 143 million in outflows, but Bitcoin is moving up again on that news of the strategic Bitcoin reserve for the U.S. Hopefully, some good information will come on Friday. Right, so that's pretty much that. Let's take a look at what's going on with the DXY as it keeps dropping. That's interesting. And the 2-year bond yields and the 10-year bond yields both have been dropping. And I want to share this information regarding these bond yields, maybe right here. Dropping bond yields. The drop in the 10-year and 2-year bond yields is flashing a message. Economic storm clouds may be gathering and the Fed could soon shift to supporting growth rather than fighting inflation. For crypto investors, this has two sides. Near term, fear of recession can spark turbulence, and believe me, we want to avoid recession. Recession will kill a bull market. Longer term, the prospect of rate cuts and looser policy is bullish for Bitcoin and crypto because it means more liquidity and a renewed risk appetite. History shows that Bitcoin thrives when money is easy. Think 2019's Fed pause or 2020's money printing, and struggles when money tightens. Today's falling yields suggest the pendulum is swinging back towards ease, which could reignite crypto's upward trajectory. Investors could remain vigilant, but recognize that a falling yield environment tends to favor Bitcoin, both as a high growth invest asset in good times and as an alternative hedge in troubled times, guys. So interesting that this drop is happening. You got a little bit more clarity there. People in my Telegram group got a lot more clarity because I did a deep dive into what bond yields means historically, and it would take up a whole video, so that's why I'm not gonna share all that. All right, but I mean, in my crypto VIP, I did share that in English and in Spanish. Maybe I should open up to the Spanish audience. To the English speaking audience. What do you guys think? And okay, so we covered all that. Quickly see what gold is doing. Gold is moving up again. Interesting. There's fear in the market still, guys. There's fear, uncertainty over the stuff that Trump is doing, tariffs, all that stuff. But I don't know. Trump is crazy like a fox, I think, right now. Okay. Dow Jones Industrial. Okay. Let's see what happens. I think, like I mentioned yesterday, consolidating. Same thing with NASDAQ. I don't know how much more it drops, but I think it's just the drop, the low point, and then a rebound to consolidate. Just go sideways for a little while, maybe the S&P and NASDAQ. All right, so nothing too crazy, but Bitcoin is looking green. Although I would like to see the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P kind of turn things around and start going up again. That would be ideal as well. All right, and let's take a look at others really quickly. Others doesn't want to drop down here. I mentioned yesterday I moved out like this to show you the channel and everything. Maybe we drop down here. Maybe we don't. Depends on what the market does. These next 2 days could be very interesting. Friday is going to be very interesting. So let's reserve our speculation until then, so we can get a little bit more clarity. But for now, things are holding tight, and I think the markets are also kind of waiting to see what happens. But we're having a couple of green days and don't want to drop too much more. That's great. Look at all these wicks right here. That's positive, right? A lot of buying for crypto market cap, excluding the top 10. So like the altcoins that I like. All right, and segue that. Let's go into Miggles. Let's take a look what's going on. Just under 4 cents. Toshi, I think we are going to come down here, like I mentioned yesterday, 30228, or we come close. Let's see. We got to really lose this area right here, like I mentioned, 303839. KeyCat, what's going on? KeyCat, pretty much in the same area, struggling right there. Dog and me, kind of the same thing. But these are all projects that are made in the U.S. and now CoinMarketCap has a little area that says right here, made in the USA, guys. That wasn't there before. This whole Trump administration wanting to really get things made in the US could spark a made in the US kind of mania, and you know, these coins like XRP, Solana, Cardano, Doge, and maybe some of these that actually could go into a potential strategic reserve would explode, guys. And so maybe a new little sub narrative is tokens made in the US, and surprisingly Miggles, Toshi, KeyCat, Dog and Me are all made in the US tokens. They're on Coinbase. Coinbase is a US exchange, and I think it's going to do extremely well. So if the base network, Coinbase, does well, the base network does well, the memes on base are going to do well by extension, guys. So keep that stuff in mind. And I think that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to bring to your attention today. Let's see what happens as Bitcoin. Let's see if it can get back up to 90,000 today. It's looking relatively strong, guys. So things are looking good. The bull run, as far as I'm concerned, is not over unless we have a recession or something like that. I don't see the bull run ending. People that were saying it's over, they've always said that. I mean, there's people that said the end of the world is coming, right? Eventually they'll be right? 4 billion years from now, they'll be right when the sun explodes, or the Andromeda galaxy collides with our galaxy, and it's all over for us unless we find other galaxies to live in for the human race. But for right now, I don't think they're going to be right, and I don't think for right now the people that say that the bull run is over, that that now it's a bear market are right. All right, but we'll see what happens. Okay, leave it there. Guys, if you can, please like, please subscribe, please leave a comment, try and grow this channel. All that stuff really does help. With all that said, I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one. Peace.